The power is out. The four words we dread to hear as technology slips through our text-riddled fingers. And we don't know why the Wi-Fi won't bend to our command. Our computers won't compute and our routers won't route. And all we know is that it's dark because the power is out. It's the same way with our connection to God. When the power of God's Spirit gets unplugged from the wall socket of our soul. You've been there, the dark days, when God seems so distant and resistant and persistent in hiding His face from us in the dark-filled rooms that we rent in this world. When the feeling of hope in our future is something we can't remember, and the shame and the guilt of our past is the only thing we can't forget. When the love of the Father and the peace of His Spirit feels like that app on your phone that you're so desperately trying to access but can't because it's frozen. So you push it and push it and push it, it won't open. You've been there, the dark days. When we blame God for our lost connection with Him, when in reality it was us who pulled the plug, who flipped the switch, who popped the breaker. It was us that believed that the power of God was something that we deserved in our lives, not something we had to seek out. So when the dark days came, we sat in that darkness and complained that the power had gone off, and we didn't do anything in our lives to try and get it back on. We didn't read or pray or seek. We didn't sit quietly and listen for the still small voice of God to speak to us through the darkness. All we did was fill our ears with the fears that the world tells us to be afraid of, hoping and believing that that would somehow turn on the lights. Each day spent raiding life's first aid kit, trying to bandage the hurts that sometimes won't heal, and covering the scars that will forever be a reminder of the dark days in our lives. Because sometimes the only way God can show us that He is in control is to put us in situations we can't control. You've been there, the dark days. But here's the thing. As we sit there in the darkness, God sits with us. As we stop listening, God still speaks. As we close our hearts, God still loves us. As we search for the power to somehow get it back on, God finds us and reminds us and says, I'm not gone. He says, I am here for you. I wish I could hear from you. Just pray for my power and my Spirit will enter you. My power is always here for you. It never is gone. Don't forget it. Come get it and let it turn you back on. He says, plug into me. He says, let my word set you free. Be all you can be, but be it in me. So each day is a step forward as I march on towards a destiny that calls my future to refuse to be dictated by my past. Forged in the fires of adversity, my mind is defined and refined by one simple truth, that happiness is the result of an individual choice, not the result of individual events. And so my choice is to be set free by the promises of God and the power of His Spirit and the peace of His Son. To be tapped into, to live my whole life through, to give my heart and my mind in each breath that I breathe to. And so if I cannot run, I will walk. And if I cannot walk, I will crawl. But I will seek out each day to be empowered by His Spirit. Because the power He gives to me is meant to flow through me, to bring light to my darkness and give sight when I can't see. So tap into God's power, His love and His grace. Bring the power of God to each day that you face. Let His Spirit renew you and do something to you. Let the power of God be the thing that flows through you. His light shines in the darkness, and the darkness can't beat it. So we can take on the darkness and no will defeat it.